Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Daly coming on for the math lesson for today. Yesterday we worked on addition to 10, so we'll review that with our anchor chart, and then we're going to move on to our new concept of adding to 20, and I have some more of the anchor chart to do, and then we'll do some practice problems together, okay? So just to review from yesterday, we talked about 2 vocabulary words for adding. So vertical, which means going up and down, and then horizontal, which means going side to side. The other thing we talked about when we were adding was making sure that we were touching and counting the numbers slowly so we didn't miss any or go too fast and not get and say too many. So we did practice with using dots or blocks. So at home, if you have something that you want to use to add, you're more than welcome to. You can use markers, you can use macaroni noodles, you can use toy cars, whatever you have at home. Miss Daly has her counting blocks to help me. You can also just use your finger and touch the pictures on the screen. That works just fine too, okay? So yesterday we did these practice problems. We're going to do those really quick. They're the same problem. So we have 3 plus 4. And remember, when we're vertical, this long line here means equals. That's how we read that number sentence. So I'm going to start with my number on top, which is 3. So I need 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 for that side, and then plus 4. So I need 4 blocks on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so 3 blocks on the top and 4 blocks on the bottom. Now remember, when I have this sign here, that means plus, I'm adding. So my vocabulary word that we learned yesterday was all together, and that just means we're smushing our blocks together to add them as one number, okay? So we're gonna use our finger to touch and count. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Great counting. So that's how we did this yesterday. That's just a quick review. So today we're going to move on to adding to 10. It is the same strategies that we used before for adding to 10, but now we're going to move up to adding to 20. So let me move up my anchor chart. We're making it work. It's a little hard to see. Okay, so for addition to 20, it's the same vocabulary words. We have vertical for up and down. We have horizontal for side to side. We're still using our dots or our blocks to add. We're just getting to a bigger number now, okay? So on this one, I have 11 plus 6, and then I have my long equal sign. So I always want to get my blocks for my big number first. So the first number is 11, okay? So I need 11 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so here is my tower of 11 for my first number on top. Put that there. And then my second number on the bottom is a 6. So I need 6 blocks for that tower. So let me hear you practice counting with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so there's my second tower of numbers. So I have 11 plus 6, and remember my big line across on the bottom, what does that mean again? Yeah, it's equals. So when I see equals and I see my plus sign here, I know I'm adding, so I need to know how many are all together. So all I need to do is smush my two towers together to make one big long tower. And let me see if I can hold it up so you guys can see it. It goes all the way across the whole screen. Okay, so we are going to touch and count, and while we do that, I'll move it down so you can see while we're counting, because my blocks are not sticking together very good. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I got all the way up to 17, and that's the number Ms. Daly had written down, okay? So this vertical problem is exactly the same horizontal, okay? It just looks a little bit different. It's the same numbers. I do the same thing, my same strategy. I do my dots, or I can do my blocks, or I could use my cars or my lollipops or whatever you have at home that you're counting. Maybe you have some marshmallows. So now that we've reviewed what our strategies are and our vocabulary words for plus and equals and all together and vertical and horizontal, we are going to go into our unique program and do some practice problems together for adding to 20, okay? So remember, we're going to be using bigger numbers today, so we want to really make sure when we're counting, we're touching and saying the number at the same time, because we don't want to mix up our number on accident. That can get very confusing, okay? So for our first problem, is this problem vertical or horizontal? Great job. It's vertical because it's going up and down, okay? So it says Emily washes 12 plates. 12 plates. So I need to count all the way up to 12. So I'm going to use my blocks, and you guys can use your finger and touch the plates or count whatever you have at home. But we need to have 12, okay? So let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Beautiful job counting, guys. I heard all of your voices at home. Okay, so I have 12 in my first set, and then the next part of the problem says Chris washes 3 plates. So now I just need to count to 3, which is easy peasy because we counted all the way to 12, so 3 should be no problem. All right, you ready? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now that I have all my blocks set up, I need to write in my vertical math sentence. So the first one was Emily, and Emily had how many plates? How many plates did Emily have? She had our big number, and it is the number 12, okay? Now, when I'm writing the number 12, 12 is made up of 2 smaller numbers smushed together, okay? So 12 has a 1 and a 2. So at home, you can use your fingers on your keyboard to help find the 1 and the 2 while Ms. Daly types them in. So first I need a 1. And it's going to ding because my number's not done yet, right? It's not a 1. I need to make it 12. So let me put a 2 behind it. And you could hear it changed, and it said that my answer was correct, and it turned green, okay? So my big number that Emily had, my larger number, was 12. Now I need to find my smaller number for the bottom of the problem, okay? So Chris washes 3 plates. So here's my smaller number, and it was the number 3. So with your finger, you're going to find the number 3 on your keyboard and practice typing it in like Ms. Daly. Great job. So my problem so far says 12 plus 3 equals. Now when I see plus and I see equals, I know that I need to know how many are all together. Great job. So I'm going to take my 2 towers of blocks and push them together. And then I'm going to practice touching and counting. Now remember, this is a big number, so we need to make sure we're going very slow and touching while we count, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. Great counting, guys. That was wonderful. All right, so 15 is like 12. It is a big, two smaller numbers smushed together to make a big number. So when I write the number 15, I need the numbers 1 and 5. So on your keyboard with your finger, I want you to find the numbers 1 and then 5 to make the number 15 while Ms. Daly types it in. Are we ready? 1. Oh, and it says I'm wrong because the answer is not 1, it's 15. So now I need to put in a 5, and there it goes, green with a ding. We got it, 15. How are we feeling? Are we feeling okay about this? Not so okay, but kind of getting it, or not okay at all? I need lots more practice. And that's okay. That's why we're going to keep practicing. I see lots of people kind of all over the place, and that's a-okay with me. Okay, let's move on to our next problem. Let me make sure I picked the right one. Okay. We're going to try another vertical problem. Remember, vertical means we're going up and down. Very good. So we are counting windows, okay? So with your finger, you can count the windows with me while I count my blocks. So Emily washes 9 windows. So we need to count all the way to 9. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Great counting, guys. Great counting. Okay, so I have one tower, which is having some trouble staying together. I have one tower of 9. So now I need to find the number 9 on my keyboard and type it into my vertical problem. So with your finger, can you find the number 9? Great job. And there's our 9. Okay, Chris washes 11 windows. So now I need to count all the way to 11. That's a big number. I'm going to need you guys to help me count. So you can either count your objects at home or practice with your finger touching the windows on the screen. But I need to count all the way to 11. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so here is my number 11. Great counting. So now I need to type in the number 11 in my vertical math sentence. So 11 is like all of our big numbers. It's 2 little numbers swished together. Who knows what 2 numbers I need to make 11? Very good. I heard lots of friends saying 1 and a 1. So you find your 1 on the keyboard while Ms. Daly types it into the screen. And there is our ding for being correct. Okay, so our math sentence so far says 9 plus 11 equals. So plus and equals means I need to know how many are all together. Great job. So I'm going to try to connect my 2 towers. My blocks are not quite cooperating with me, but we're going to make it work. Okay. You might make it work. All right, so I'm going to try and hold this up so that you can see it. It's very long, so it's going to be a little difficult for you to see it all at once. Whoops. Looks like Miss Daly needs to find something else to count. because my blocks are falling apart with the big numbers. Okay, so I'm going to hold it one more time so you can see. This is how many blocks we need to count. That is a really big number, so it's very important that we touch and count slowly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it into 2 towers because that will be easier for Ms. Daly to hold up and count. But we still need to count all of our blocks that we got out because that's how we know that we will have all together the windows that were washed, okay? So we are going to touch and count together. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 blocks. Holy smokes. That is a really big number. You guys did some great counting together. So let's type in the number 20 on the bottom. How do I write a 20? Yeah, it's 2 numbers smushed together because it's a big number. So I need a 2 and a 0 for 20. So with your finger on your keyboard, can you find the numbers 2 and 0? And you got it. Great counting, guys. Give yourselves a pat on the back for working so hard. We're going to move on to our next practice problem. All right. So we have Emily washes 8 plates and Chris washes 6 plates. Okay. So what's my first number I need to count to for Emily? Great job. I need to count to 8. So I'm going to find 8 blocks and we're going to count together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 blocks. Okay, great counting. So I have 8 blocks for my friend Emily. And now I need, how many blocks for Chris? How many blocks do I need for Chris? Great, I need 6 blocks because it says Chris washes 6 plates. So I'm going to count to 6. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so 6 blocks for Chris. So I need to type my numbers into my math sentence. So how many plates did Emily have? Good, I hear lots of people saying 8. So with your finger on your keyboard, find the number 8 while Miss Daly types it in. Great job. And then how many plates did Chris have? Chris was our smaller number. He had 6. Very good. So I'm going to find the number 6 and you do the same thing with your finger on your keyboard and type it in. And let's read our math sentence so far. 8 plus 6 equals. So I have a plus and an equals. So I know that means how many are all together. So I need to smush my tower all together so I can add up how many plates they had together. Okay? So we're touching and counting to add. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14, that is a great job counting, guys. So 14 is a bigger number, so I know that it's made up of 2 smaller numbers smushed together. So for 14, I need a 1 and a 4. So with your fingers on your keyboard, I want you to find the numbers 1 and 4 to type in the number 14. Oops. And there we are. Great job. Okay, we're gonna move on to practicing our horizontal, adding up to 20. So I think we had enough practice with vertical. All right, so here's our horizontal. Now remember, horizontal is side to side, and we use our same strategies that we did for vertical for up and down, okay? So our first one says, Emily folds 3 shirts. So I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2, and 3. So here's my 3 blocks for Emily. And with your fingers, I want you to find the number 3 on your keyboard and type it in with me. Beautiful job. All right, so this says 3 plus, and I need to figure out what number goes in this box. So Chris folds 10 shirts. So let's count to 10 together. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so there are my 10 blocks for Chris. So I know when I write the number 10, I need a 1 and a 0. So will you help me find the numbers on your keyboard to type in a 1 and a 0 for the number 10? And there we are. So I see 3 plus 10 equals. Remember, this sign with the 2 parallel lines means equals. And I know that if I see that, I need to know how many are all together. Beautiful job. So I'm going to smush my tower so that I can count how many are all together. So we're going to touch and count slowly together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Beautiful counting, guys. 13. Who remembers what 2 numbers make the number 13? If you remember, I want you to use your fingers and touch the 2 numbers on your keyboard. Beautiful job. I see lots of people using the number 1, 3. So I'm going to try typing that in. And you guys were right. Great job. Give yourselves a pat on the back. All right, let's try another problem together for practice. And sorry, here we are. So I'm going to teach you a new strategy for this one, because sometimes it's easier if we remember how to count on from our bigger number, okay? So this says Emily washes 11 plates. So I'm not going to count 11 blocks this time. I'm just going to type the number 11 in this box. So how do I type the number 11? Great job. I'm going to put a 1 and a 1 for 11. Beautiful. And then this says Chris washes 6 plates. So for this one, I am going to count out my blocks so that I have them. So help me count to 6 for Chris. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so here are my 6 blocks. They look like a rainbow. 6 blocks for Chris, and I'm going to type in the number 6. So with your finger, find the number 6. Beautiful. Okay, so I know that I need to add how many are all together, but I didn't feel like counting to 11 because that's a lot of blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a strategy called counting on. So that means I'm going to look at my blocks here, and when I count, I'm going to start with the number 11 in my head because 11 is the big number in my problem. So I'm going to say the number 11, and then I'm going to keep counting my blocks from there to find my answer. So I'm going to say 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 blocks. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of blocks. So I'm going to type my number 17. And we are right. And I'm going to make my screen bigger for a second because this is the same problem that we did earlier for practice, right? So I know that I have 11 dots here and 6 dots here. And when I added them together, I got 17, which is the same thing I got when I used my counting on strategy. So I started with 11 in my brain and I said 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I got the same number. So that's another strategy you could use. Instead of always making your dots for both numbers, you could just make it for your smaller number and count on, okay? Great working, guys. Go ahead and give yourselves a kiss on your brain. And we are going to try 2 more problems together, okay? All right, so Emily washes 8 forks. Well, I'm going to try my counting on strategy because I think that's good to practice. So I'm just going to type in my number 8 for this one. So Emily has 8 forks. So use your finger to find the number 8 on your keyboard. Beautiful job. Okay. So then it says Chris washes 8 forks also. So now I'm going to count 8 blocks. So I have those. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, okay? So I have my 8 blocks here for Chris. So I need to type a number 8. So with your finger, find the number 8 on your keyboard. Beautiful job. Okay, I have 8 plus 8 equals. So I know I need to know how many are all together, but I'm going to use my strategy of counting on. So I'm going to look at my number in the front, and it's an 8. So I'm going to put my number 8 in my brain, and I'm going to say 8, and then keep counting. Okay, so here we go. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Beautiful counting, guys. 16. 16 is a 1, and what other number? Awesome sauce. A 1 and a 6. Beautiful job. You guys are getting it. Let me see how you're feeling about it. If you think this is easy peasy and you feel great to go, I want to see a thumbs up. If you think you're kind of getting it but need some more practice, thumb to the side. And if you are completely lost and I'm just not sure what to do, Miss Daly, thumb down. Great. I think a lot of us are getting it. If you're still struggling, that's a-okay. We're going to do a couple more practice problems. And then when you're at home, you can practice some more at home. You can do this all the time. If you have things that you can count at home, you can just put them in 2 separate piles and practice counting them and then mushing them together for adding. You can make adding problems anytime you want at home just by counting things that you have, okay? So let's try one more problem together. And then we're going to say goodbye for today. I love how hard everybody's been working at home. I know this is a little difficult. Okay, so here is our last problem. Emily washes 15 windows. Okay, that's a big number. I really don't feel like counting all those blocks. So let's practice our counting on strategy, okay? So Emily washes 15 windows. I'm going to type my number 15 in the first box. Who remembers what 2 numbers I need for 15? Very good. I need a 1 and a 5. So you at home on your keyboard, go ahead and type in a 1 and a 5. Great job. Okay, so the next part of my problem says Chris washes 3 windows. So now I'm going to count to 3. That's easy peasy. I know how to do that. 1, 2, and whoops, 3. Okay, so I have my 3 for Chris, and with your finger find the number 3 on your keyboard and type it in. Beautiful. So I have plus and equals. So I need to know how many are all together, right? So my first number, my big number is 15. So I'm going to put 15 in my brain. And then I'm going to keep counting on from 15. Are we ready? 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. Beautiful job, guys. Great job. So you did an awesome job counting and adding with me. Remember, like I said, you can practice adding anything you have at home, okay? If you have Legos that you play with, you can move your Legos into 2 separate piles. You could practice counting and writing down the number for each pile, and then practice smushing them together and adding how many there are together. You could practice adding on by counting one group and then keep going, keep counting and counting. The more you practice, the better you'll get and the easier it will be. All right, guys, I love spending time with you for math. Tomorrow we're going to start working on subtraction, and I will see you then. Bye.